Hello friends, this is Sam again from fightforex.info. I'm making this video to explain our new and improved FX Reports version 3 software, and the video is intended for helping people with their installation. So let's get started. As you can see, this is the new and improved interface for our FX Reports version 3, and it has many amazing new features, great new look and feel, and as you can see, very attractive front end with new daily reports. Um, Older version had trading history that is also there. So we're really excited about this new version. We hope that you will love it. Okay, so let's get started with the installation. The installation process starts when you purchase and download the zip file, which is something like fightforex_fx reports v3. So the first step is to download this after your purchase and extract. So right click, go to the location where it is downloaded, right click and say extract all. Choose a folder on your machine where you want to extract the files. Right now it doesn't matter where you extract, just choose any folder. Once you finish the extraction, you should go to that folder where the files have been extracted. Okay, so this is step number 1. Step number 2 is to create a folder and the database for this new software on your web server. Okay, so I'm going to show based on my website where to go and how to do this. Most commonly used is Cpanel. So unfortunately, I don't have access to Cpanel, but the steps are pretty much the same. So I'm going to walk you through the steps of creating the folder and creating a database on my hosting provider. But depending on how your hosting provider works or what control panel they provide, the steps may be slightly different for you. Okay. And by the way, if you need a solid, cheap VPS server to run the software, come to my website and you will get an amazing deal on some of the VPS servers. They're very cheap. I'm using this for last almost 15 years, and it's an amazing hosting provider. It's powered by Reseller Cpanel. So any of these packages are awesome. You can use even the dedicated or semi-dedicated one is the one I use. It's pretty cool. It's $20 a month, and you get a whole lot of horsepower for your hosting. But anyway, that is not the topic for this video. So let's get back to the installation process. So I'm going to sign into my account. And first step, like I said, is to create a folder. So I'm going to just show you, I have created already a folder called FX Reports v3. For me, it's very simple. I go and there is an option for me to create a new folder. So pick your folder location where you want it on your site, use whatever option you have and create that folder and note it down. So for our installation video, we're going to use this FX Reports v3. Okay, that's step number 1 from here. Then the next thing to do is create a database. So like I said, I get this very nice interface to create my databases. Your interface will look slightly different, but the idea is to create a MySQL database. So I'm just going to create one here, MySQL database. I will put the name FX report 3, whatever password, generate password, and hit add MySQL. So note down the database name, the database username, and the database password. These are the 3 things you want to note down. In my case, again, database name and database user are the same. So I get those from this one. So for me, it is monitorline underscore fxrpt3, and this will be my password, right? Once you note down these three items, go ahead and create that database, right? Once you create the database in cPanel, the note to the cPanel users is you have to make sure that the user, for example, this is the database we created, make sure the user that you're creating for database has all the privileges. So in cPanel, there is a separate step. For me, it happens automatically, so I don't have to do that separately. For you, those who are using cPanel, they may have to do that separately. So, right? So we created the folder, we created the database, right? Now, the next thing to do is to go to phpMyAdmin or whatever the function that you use to create the database tables. Click on the database. Now, for me, I have all the tables already created, so I will not be creating them again. I'm just showing the steps. You will see the empty list here. So for you, if you use phpMyAdmin, go to the newly created database, click on the database. This is important. Make sure you are in the database, not only in the server, but the database. Go to either import or SQL. Both will work. So let me show you the SQL part first. Go back to the folder where you have extracted the files. This is the folder. In this, you'll see MySQL table definitions. Open that file in a notepad and just select all, copy. Copy this SQL statement. Go back to your phpMyAdmin. Go to SQL and paste this. So right click, paste. Copy the entire SQL here and hit go. I'm not going to do that because I already have the tables, but this is one way. Or you can go to the import function and import the same file from the folder that you just created. I think the folder I created was this, and I will import this file, MySQL table definitions. So at the end of it, you should see all the tables created here. If you run into any errors, resolve those with the help of your database expert or with the hosting provider, and make sure you have all the tables created, right? So these are the tables that the software needs, right? Now we created the folder, created the database, and then we created the database tables. Now the next step is to go back and update the config file. So go to the folder where you have extracted this, open the config file fxrp_config in any text editor of your choice. Now this is the most important step. First part you can ignore. It is just checking for the right PHP version. If you don't have the right PHP version, it will give you an error. So forget this. Come down to the row where you have to start entering your database details. So first is your database host. Typically it is localhost, but check with your hosting provider. They would tell you what server you have to use, which is your host, also called as MySQL server. For me, it is localhost. So I will type localhost here and so on and so forth. You noted down the database name, the database user, and the password. So these values are very, very important. They go here. The next set of variables are for the email to work. So the first one is your SMTP server. Again, this is some information, and this is why I love these guys. This is an awesome interface. You just go to mailboxes and you can get all this information right here. I use SSL1, so I use these details. So I have my SMTP server here, port numbers and all those, right? So I put all of that here. So when you enter the SMTP server, don't forget to note down the port as well, because we're gonna use that at a later point. Use the username for your SMTP server. This is typically your email address, but check again with your host. And the password for the SMTP user, which is again typically the password you have set up for this email account that you're using as a user to log in. Now, the base URL is your website URL plus the folder that you just created in the previous step. So for me, it is fxreports v3, right? So if I go back, this is the address, this is my base URL. So I copy this. You will have to copy this URL, whatever applies to you, and put it here. Site name is the name you want to give your site. In this case, we have given it like Trader Analytics, or it's just an example. You choose your name. Site slogan. Slogan is something that shows up here. In our case, we have put transparency is the future. Then leave these 4 blank, okay? You don't need this. Next one, and this is where most of the installations, the users that try to install get kind of tripped. This is an important item, no reply mail. This is the email that will be used when sending emails out from the site. And this must be a real email in your domain. So my domain is fightforex.info. So it has to be an email that I have already created at my site. So I use this no reply email, and the corresponding email has to go here. So copy that and put it here. Make sure you create that first in your host. Rest, ignore. If you want to track the visitors and if you want to use Google Analytics or some other code, you can put the tracking code here and it will be added automatically on each page. For this version, you can ignore these. They don't mean anything. You can as well remove them. Save the file, right? So just a quick recap. You downloaded, you extracted the software, you created the folder, you created the database, you created the database tables, you now updated the config file the way I explained, and every variable has an explanation too. Then only thing now left in the installation process is to upload the entire set of files. Don't leave anything. You can leave README, that's not important, but everything else has to go up on your web server. So copy all the files in the folder that you created. For me, I have copied all the files up here. You can use you can use FileZilla or any other FTP solution or any other way you upload the files, but that's fine as long as you do upload all the files, including this ex4 file. This is the EA that we need, right? Now, once you do that, right, go to this address and you should see, go to your own address, whatever folder you created, and you should see the basic structure. You may not see the accounts, but you should see the empty page with register link and login link and the other stuff up here, down here. Now these are the areas which you can populate later. I will show you how. Once you see this page, you're basically set. So create a test account, try that test account, and there may be other steps you will have to do. I'm just gonna show you. Once you create a test account, you can go ahead and log in, test all the other functions on the site. Initially, this will be an empty table. When you log in, you will see the link, which is basically nothing but the link to the same EA that you uploaded on the site. You will see a help video that tells you and your users who want to use this site to publish their trading activity, how to install the EA. So this is the next video you should definitely refer to. It will automatically show up, and this will be the URL for publishing all your activity. This needs to go in the EA. So the video explains this, so don't worry about what this URL and all that all that is explained in this second video. Okay, so that's pretty much it. The only other thing that is left is if you face any issues in sending the emails, go to this fxrpt underscore funds file, which is also here, the ones that you download, and search up the function called send mail and go to that function and just check the port number here. Okay, this port number is usually 1025, but check if you're facing issues sending emails. Maybe you need to check. For me, the SMTP port is 25 or 2525. So check if that is the reason, because this is the only thing that is hard coded in the program. We will change that in the next version. Everything else you can leave as is, and hopefully at that point the software will start working as you expect. Okay. So hopefully this video was helpful for you to understand the installation process, and good luck. You can always contact us at fightforex.info if you have any questions, and if you want us to do any custom installation, we are available. We are a 5-star seller on Fiverr as well. So we can definitely help you for a small fee. We can set up the whole thing. If you need any customizations, we are more than happy to help you with that for a small fee. Okay, thank you. Good luck.